Well, if this custom commentary doesn't brighten your mood, then hopefully my shirt will. Of course, of those of you actually watching this live custom commentary, if you're just listening to the audio version, this won't make any sense to you whatsoever. Nothing can possibly brighten your mood, except maybe my soothing voice, if it is in fact soothing at all. But anyway, introductions aside, Liamo All-Star here for yet another custom commentary, and if you haven't read the title, then you're in for a surprise. I am providing custom commentary for Wrestle Kingdom 12's Kenny Omega vs. Chris Jericho main event. This is billed as Omega vs. Alpha. Chris Jericho calling himself the Alpha, where basically this was a return to Japan for Chris Jericho. He started in Japan, or basically ran around the circuit in his early days for wrestling before he went into, well, basically been all over. He's been in Japan, he's been in Mexico, he's wrestled basically all around the world before he got to the WWE. And this is his return to New Japan. He basically did it in a pre-taped vignette challenging Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega is the IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, and basically this is his first match outside of WWE since 1999. Chris Jericho, in his contract with WWE, has been up. The relationship between him and WWE, of course, has not dissolved. He just decided to do something different, and that's what Chris Jericho is all about. Every time that he has returned to the squared circle, he's done something different, and that's what's kept his character unique. That's what's kept his career basically fresh, from Lionheart Chris Jericho and ECW to then going to WCW and it not working. But then he had the whole gimmick where he's the man of 1,000 holds, and then he'd list every single hold that he knew. And then going to WWE, where he was Y2J Chris Jericho, which eventually basically morphed into being Chris Jericho, King of the World, which then eventually evolved into when he eventually came back to the WWE after he left in 2005, came back in late 2007 and competed through 2008 onwards as being the best in the world. A complete morphing of his character to a more serious and basically a snub of a guy. Instead of wearing the jackets and the rock star look, he basically had the shorter hair and wearing suits and talking down to people. It was a great Kimura move, and then eventually reintroducing Y2J, and then going off on a sabbatical again, coming back, and then introducing the list of Jericho, having his whole partnership with Kevin Owens. And then from there, he's gone off to tour with Fozzy again in their new album Judas. But basically, he's been a free agent. He used this time to challenge Kenny Omega to a match, and basically what's happened in the build-up is that he cut a video promo on Kenny Omega, and then he attacked Kenny Omega, and then Kenny Omega attacked him. In basically this build-up has just been great. I've got here, if you're all going to look at it, if you search right now and you want to quickly, before we get into the actual match itself, I've got the Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho Wrestle Kingdom 12, basically the promo for it. It goes about 3 minutes long. Got to watch it now. I haven't actually watched that yet. I haven't watched the Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho match yet, so it's all fresh. So every bit of custom commentary is legitimate. Of course, everything, all of it is. Why wouldn't it be? But that's my endorsement right there. But anyway, got to watch it now, and it's also got to play in the background. You might hear it a little bit.
This time of the show, whoever challenges me comes out and introduces themselves. So, I welcome you. Please come out and introduce yourself.
So there, Kenny Omega, open challenge, and Chris Jericho answered it. Now, Kenny Omega speaking Japanese, that's cool. You know, going to Japan and learning the language and speaking the language, that's respect right there. And then Chris Jericho, the heel.
Kenny Omega. Let's see who's really the best.
And then the ultimate sign of disrespect. Tearing a photo of Kenny Omega.
What kind of strings did you pull to make this happen?
When it was pitched to me, it was almost like, hey, you should have a match against Kenny Omega. And I didn't laugh.
Because I am the best of you. Chris Jericho, you very well be the best of all time. But you're not the best at the moment. You never had a 6-star match. Heck, I don't even know if you've had a 5. I don't think so.
So I've seen a couple of clips and a couple of, but not all of it. This is me, casual fan of wrestling, just sort of bleeding out right now. Now this clip I saw, where basically code breaker and then just beat the living crap out of him. They still allow blood in Japan, which is something they don't allow in America anymore, or at least not in the WWE, because it's not PG. Hits him with the belt, cuts him open, like really pounds into him, you know, does the hard way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then maybe you should be watching this. A few wrestling terminology here. Oh, bloody. Now this. Flipping off the crowd, just shoving the cameraman away. This I saw as well. This was awesome.
His own blood. It made me happy, and it made me understand just exactly how much better I am than Kenny Omega, and now Japan will understand.
And then he attacks him. You know, this, you know, just breaking the walls down between fantasy and reality, and you're able to enjoy it because it's like, you know, wrestling is what it is, but this takes it back to its core. They really did a good job of building this up. Yeah, Chris Jericho just really swearing, letting loose.
You understand me? Kenny Omega's last match in New Japan. Ever. Kenny Omega's finished in Japan.
It didn't cut the whole promo, but if you ever get the chance, go on YouTube and you just search for it. You know, the I forget what they call it, the conference. You know, the pre-match conference. They actually held a pre-match conference for them, and that build right there, you know, just a lot of emotion, and just Chris Jericho just like it's as if they had no strings attached. Like there was nothing there. You know what? It's time to do the custom commentary because I'm excited for this match. You know, this is rare for me to actually be excited for a wrestling match, and you know, that's unfortunate. And anyone who is a wrestler or in the wrestling industry, I do apologize for that. But just the product as of late is not truly catered to me anymore. And I was never really the biggest fan of wrestling going in to begin with. But like the attitude era and, you know, basically not insulting the intelligence, that whole thing, that got me interested. That got me in as a wrestling fan. Got something in my pockets. What the hell did I have in my pocket? I'll just put that back in there. But now, here's a custom commentary. Sync it up with me if you want to hear the commentary exactly at the same time of the match. I'm going to play it right before the intros. So I've got to get the intros and go all the way to the end of the match in 3, 2, hit play now. Okay. think it's all Japanese commentary, so hey, here's my commentary to commentate over the commentators. You know what I think, there's a theory of mine, is that the light up jacket, it's a new one, bloody hell. Apparently those jackets are really expensive and they are very fragile. Like the wires inside, they're not designed for pretty much any movement because, you know, because they are so fragile, the wires break and then the lights obviously stop working. You know, there's a few stories about how Chris Jericho had his jacket laid out and then there were people that were just trying on the jacket and everything just for kicks and just for fun to see how it looked on them. And a couple of the events, the half his jacket, half the lights didn't work, you know. But I reckon this whole thing, I mean, Chris Jericho right now is basically, he's got his new album out, Judas, and he's been touring with his band Fozzy. That's why he hasn't been with the WWE. I reckon that this whole thing right here, because you hear it right there, he's using Judas as his theme song, as his entrance theme. I reckon that the whole thing is just a means of advertising his new album to Japan. That's clever marketing on Chris Jericho's part. I'm onto you, Chris Jericho. He's using this whole thing as a way to basically advertise himself and his new album. And maybe he'll then go on tour to Japan with Fozzy, you know, and try and boost record sales, yada yada yada. Well, not record sales, I mean CD. What? How? I mean, they're called record sales or CD sales, but no one buys records or CDs. I mean, iTunes sales? I'm showing my old age, even though I'm only 29 as of this recording. It's just pointless commentary filler until the entrances are complete. Jesus Christ, a little overboard. I mean, the Japanese eat that up, you know. If you're actually watching it and not just listening to it, he's carrying a big prop gun, like a big, like, fake laser weapon, like an anime. He's done up like an anime. So yeah, Omega versus Alpha, and this is going to be a no disqualification match as well, by the way. So no holds barred, no countouts, no disqualifications, nothing. Just basically hardcore match, no disqualification match, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is for the IWGP United States Championship. New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's the first ever New Japan Pro Wrestling match that I've actually ever watched as well. And ironically, starring or featuring rather, a Canadian and an American. I mean, I appreciate the entrances and everything, but I kind of just want the match to go. Just get the match going already. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's no way that Chris Jericho's going to walk out with the title. Unless he's working more dates with them, I don't see it happening. I think this is a one and done, but I'm still interested to see the outcome regardless. You know, like a movie, you know that the good guys go to win. The heroes will prevail, but you're still there, you want to see it, you want to go along for the ride anyway. And then there's always that little bit of, you know, that sort of, at the same time, will the hero win, or will the villain prevail? Chris Jericho is clearly the villain. the heel in this match. Kenny Omega, you know, he's the US champion. He's the crowd favorite. Oh! And the match hasn't officially started, but he's gone and attacked. So obviously the bell hasn't rung yet. I mean, it's no DQ, but Kenny Omega going to hug his, you know, people in the corner, whoever they are. Now a bunch of officials holding Chris Jericho back. Usually in a American match, it'd just be, just ring the bell, let him go. But it just seems like, you know, adding that legitimacy and bringing back reality to wrestling, I like that. It should be something that they do a lot more of. I mean, sure, it eats up more time, but then you don't have to cram the card with too many. Okay, those are just horrible punches right there. Even for working punches, just awful. And the camera angle they just got there, I mean, it's not a great start, but I mean, they've still got time to build this thing up. I'm sorry, just those working punches in the beginning. I mean, it's a habit that people now have where they're like, you know, that both of them are just punching each other like this. Like, who came up with that and what the hell? I mean, if someone's punching you, you're not just going to keep punching them like that at the same time you're being punched. That's just, you know, I guess that's just the martial arts in me, and, you know, punch him properly, just ha! Ha! Oh dear. So it's a bit slow working this match so far. They're obviously both technical wrestlers, but they are also very versatile, the both of them. I mean, they can be high flyer if they need to. They can, you know, jump off the ropes. They can work submission holds. So they're good all-round wrestlers. We'll say, Chris Jericho's kept in relatively good shape. Oh, locking in the walls of Jericho right there. This early in the match. Build the suspense. But it's... But hang on a second. It's supposed... Isn't it a no disqualification match? So why is the referee counting? It's like... Yeah, I mean he's not getting disqualified, but the referee was still pretty much counting, you know, because he had the ropes. I mean, that's a bit... I mean, the rules are no disqualification means if they're on the ropes, the referee doesn't count, you know, rope break or anything. It's like, who the hell cares? I mean, it's a technical rule of wrestling, but I never really did, you know, it's like, oh, he's grabbed the ropes. He's grabbed the ropes, you gotta let go. Why? Gotta let go. He's grabbing the ropes. That breaks the submission. It's a cheap... I mean, it is a rule that adds suspense to a match and everything, but in a real life scenario, it's like, if the submission's locked in, the submission's locked in. Oh! Now we're starting to get a little bit of suspense right there. Kenny Omega just jumped through a table and took out what looks like an iPhone instead of Chris Jericho. The show on the replay. I guess he really doesn't like iPhones. Oh, he's got the walls of Jericho. Oh, Jesus. Chris Jericho just playing the villain role, shoving a referee and freaking going after the freaking officials. I always want Chris Jericho to win now. Jesus. You'd want to hope that they're all in on the work here, and that he's not just doing it for the sake of, you know, just putting a submission on a bunch of, you know, officials, if for real. But they're working a pretty good match. I mean, the beginning sort of with, you know, with the whole punches thing, but I guess that's a problem with just the wrestling style in general these days. Oh god. Why have they still got those CRT TVs? It's Japan! They got like holograms and stuff. And they still got those prop CRT TVs there. You know, for the announcers at the table. It's like, oh my god, man, those little portable CRT TVs. If you don't know what the hell they are, just look it up. Or not. I really don't care. I'm watching this match right now. And providing custom commentary. I mean, if anyone can actually understand Japanese, could understand what the commentators are saying in the background with the low volume. But it does seem like it's a pretty slow-paced match. Like, it's not going... like, they beat some pretty big spots to start off with. But it's a bit of a slower moving match. So it's definitely more an American style match than a Japanese style match. Or even a, you know, like... oh dear. It's about to go up high on that scaffold there. Or is that an awning? No, it's not an awning. It's a scaffold. But yeah, like the luchador style of wrestling, the flipping and the kicking, that sort of thing, that really fast-paced wrestling. Japan sort of has a bit of a... you know, they got that strong style of wrestling as well, so... but they do have a... it's like, it's good, I guess. They got a general mix. And I guess this is sort of the mix of styles of different wrestling that they're providing. So obviously they would have like different styles of wrestlers and different style of wrestling. And that's something that WWE is, you know, is missing quite a bit of these days, you know. Why is he counting? Maybe it's just all real technical. No disqualification, but still doesn't mean no countouts or no... guess you got me on a technicality there. But then... but they were out of that ring for ages, and only just then did they start... yeah, the referee get up and start counting them out. Although the referee was knocked out. Knocked out. Inverted commas. For those who aren't watching me live or actually just listening. Oh! Dropkick off the freaking top rope, knocking Kenny Omega in his gut. You never been hit in the gut? I mean, no one ever knows how to really hit themselves in the solar plexus. If you ever even just kind of tap yourself in the solar plexus. But no matter how strong your abs are or anything, if you get yourself right there in the solar plexus in just the right spot, I mean, you feel it. No matter who you are, you feel it. I mean, there are people that can tough it out and work through it, but you still feel it. You just landed straight on the ropes, right on his solar plexus. I mean, obviously, was able to maneuver himself, but still. Japanese table. He's just going all out, like, no holds barred with his mouth or anything. Like, Chris Jericho saying stuff that he could not say in WWE. Like, they're just letting him do whatever he wants to do, I guess. He's got freedom of creation. That freaking hardwood table. That's not your simple breakaway table from America. That's your freaking... It still power bombs him, but doesn't get him through the table. It just adds that suspense and thriller. Now the table is, like, literally the table is set. I mean, Chris Jericho didn't put Kenny Omega through the table, but he's got it out there. They'll probably end up working something later. The table will be there, and that should probably have something to do with the outcome of the match, I'm sure. And just working him over, putting the chairs in the ring. You know, a lot of the cameras and stuff that he's flipping off the crowd. I love Chris Jericho. I don't mistake him. Yeah, he's a smaller guy, but he's a tough prick. Oh, goodness. You know, he's had to go... He's been in brawls and everything. You know, he's been all around the world. And he's been in some seedy places as well. I mean, people, you know, mistake him for being, you know, just a small guy, just, you know, the weaker, inferior person. But, you know, he's able to hold his own. He's a tough guy. And he's been around for many years in wrestling. I think, you know, at least 20 plus years. But Kenny Omega's been around for quite some time as well, I imagine. The fact that Chris Jericho chose to work with Kenny Omega, I mean, that's got to say something about Kenny, you know, and his ability, his caliber as a wrestler in general. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, he's got a good career in, you know, in wrestling in Japan, but will he eventually move to America, you know, to work the WWE or Ring of Honor or TNA, that sort of thing? Whatever you want to call them these days, TNA, Impact, Global Force. I don't care, I don't watch that. I did watch a little bit of snippet of it a couple of times, and it's just bad every time I watched it. Like, the way they work the matches in TNA, whatever, it's just not good. Just really not a good style of wrestling. And they continually change the way, the format, and even the people running it changed. And just so many things just didn't make sense the way they ran that organization, the way they still run it. The fact that it's lasted this long is only because, you know, it's an independent, you know, it could be regarded as, you know, a larger independent organization. But Lion Salt, even at, you know, Chris Jericho's in his 40s and he's still able to execute that maneuver to perfection. Although when he was a heel, it's like every time he did the move, everyone would always get their knees up. You know, particularly during his heel run from 2000 and I believe it was, yeah, late 2001 to 2000 and I think 2004 before he turned face again. But pretty much every time it's like, oh, he got the knees up, 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 he got the knees up. Oh! Hurricane Rana from Kenny Omega and a clothesline over the top rope. And now they're going to work that angle where he's outside. Chris Jericho's outside. He's injured. He's got to catch his breath. Kenny Omega, he just took a pounding and he used all the energy he had left to mount a comeback. So now he's got to gather his energy. They're going to go out to the ring outside. And they're going to do something with the table for sure. But not before he jumps over the top rope. Whoa! Bloody the amount of distance he covered in that jump. That was pretty good. It's a replay again. Whoa! Well, he caught him a bit. Probably could have caught him a bit more on that move, I guess. But executed well. Chris Jericho, you know, able to sell that awesome. That's a unique bulldog. He just jumped right over the top and slammed his head down. Don't see many innovations of moves much these days. Unless you count finishing moves. That's one thing I don't understand as well, where it's like, oh, you know, that's that guy's finisher. You can't use that finisher because that's his finisher. That's a unique move again. A little, like a backbreaker, neck breaker, just a inverted neck breaker drop. I don't know what the hell that is. But yeah, it's like, you know, you look like at Undertaker, he's got the choke slam. Kane's got the choke slam. Big Show's got the choke slam. So, you know, it wouldn't be remiss for certain people, you know, like the spear as well, and certain forms of the DDT. But there are other moves where it's like, oh, you know, you can't do that move because he does that move. It's like, I think they just, I mean, that old school mentality where certain moves you can't do because he does it. And I know it adds, you know, a certain identity to a character, but I mean, there's got to be more flexibility to it, you would imagine. Oh, he's got to lock in the walls of Jericho again. He's got to lock it in the walls of Jericho, putting in another hold after some more. I should be commenting more on the match, but I assume that everyone's watching this instead of listening to it. But if you are listening to it while you're watching this, or you're just watching me and my lovely face instead of watching it, or just watching the reaction, I'll provide both. Because I can. Because it's my YouTube channel. I do what I want on my YouTube channel. Unless YouTube tells me I can't. So this match has been going for about just over 20 minutes now. So definitely working a long match here. Oh, what the hell? It's got a friggin' spray can or something. Odor spray or something. Or was that hairspray or deodorant or something? Or it's just selling spraying deodorant. I mean, it's obviously not really, but let's pretend that it is, you know. It's working the gimmick here. Come on! This is wrestling, damn it! It's wrestling, damn it! That's a real can of spray! He's blinded! He can't see anything! Oh! I forgot they put that chair in the corner. Ha! They worked me! Well done, you made me forget about that chair that they put in the corner. Now that is alright. You fooled me, damn it! You fooled me! I'm putting my finger in. I guess Chris Jericho's cured his blindness by, I don't know, hitting someone in the corner chair. Yeah, that's the cure for blindness. Throwing other person in a chair. We should tell the people. Just working over that Japanese crowd right there. Right there at the Tokyo Dome. I'm pretty sure that's a Tokyo Dome. Is it? Eh. Keeps hitting him in the frickin' corner, throwing him in the corner where that chair is. Wonder if he's gonna blade himself and bleed. Ah, jeez, taunting to the crowd, lying on the ropes. That's some good working right there. Yep, he's bleeding. He's bladed. He's blading from the head. And unlike in the America, they're letting him bleed. Although I do kind of agree with that. You know, for hygiene reasons. You know, back in the day with certain hardcore matches and everything, with people just... wrestlers just be gushing from the head. And that wasn't the last match of the night and there'd be blood all over the mat. You know, similar thing with UFC, you know, I could definitely understand the whole no blood angle and, you know, wanting to clean it up and, you know, that sort of thing. But then, you know, there's sort of that half and half thing where it's like, you know, because they let it go that way for so long, the precedent is set and now the old school wrestling fans are like, oh, you know, there's no blood anymore. They're not bleeding all over the mat. I need blood. I deserve blood. I want blood. If you want blood so much, I don't know, go get a transfusion. Go to the butcher and get some blood. What's that move called again? Dragon Suplex. It's an interesting version of it. I'm pretty sure that's called the Dragon Suplex. My knowledge of wrestling holds comes mostly from playing wrestling games and creating a wrestler. Yeah, it's definitely some sort of Dragon Suplex. Where they grab the shoulders and lift him over. Well, they sort of lifting him sideways. It's a version I've never seen before, but... Oh! Let's try to lift him up, and another one. So drawing this one out. Oh! Chest shot. Both are down. But this is no disqualification, but it is apparently not no count out. Which is kind of confusing, or isn't it? I don't know. Doesn't appear to be counting them out. Ah, wrestling. Sometimes they just make it up as they go along. Ha 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 ha. He's got that chair. He's got to smack him in the head. Ooh. That's the other thing as well. You know, the head chair shots. Not something they do anymore in, you know, WWE. I mean, I understand if you take like a full-on headshot and you just go head into it. It's definitely that risk, but if you got the hands up method, I mean, you sell it, but you still take the impact, and you know that would be okay. But because of concussions and everything, they won't even allow that sort. No chair shots to the head anymore. And I mean, if you're going to hit someone with a chair, I mean, of all things, a chair, why would you just slap him in the back with it a bunch of times? It would sting like hell. I mean, that's an effective way, but then the hit to the gut and slap him on the back. I mean, for maximum effectiveness, that chair shot to the head, that's where the money shot is. And they've really lost that. Like when they went and said, yeah, no more because of concussions, this, that, and everything else. Which is a fair call in a way, but there's still a way that they could do it and work it, because a lot of the moves in wrestling are extremely dangerous, and some of those wrestling moves are a lot more dangerous and can cause concussions a lot worse than a chair shot to the head. But I digress. Back to the match. Oh, is he in the angle for that table? Is he? Is he? Yes! I knew it! I called it! I freaking called it! I called it! A table was set up there! They were working it! I mean, they worked me, they fooled me and distracted me into forgetting all about the chair they placed in the corner, but that table there, I said it! I said it was gonna happen! It just happened. Drop kicked right into the table. Goes Chris Jericho. I told you it was gonna happen too! You didn't believe me, did you? Of course you did. I mean, there's some pretty good spots here. But it is definitely, yeah, like I said before, it's a slow-paced match, definitely. Is that table chipboard? It's like a... It's like a hollow desk or something. He's washing that blood off his head with that water bottle. There's actually a fan in the crowd at one of the previous WWE shows who actually threw a water bottle, like a full water bottle, full roll, at, I think it was Sin Cara. I don't know, was it Sin Cara or was it Kalisto? One of them. He got, like, he had to have stitches in his mouth because he really got him too. Like, just must have been like really close and just really good throw. But anyone who throws anything or tries to assault any kind of performer, you know, whether it be wrestling or even comedy for that matter, people who try to assault performers, just assholes, and they don't deserve to go back there. I kicked him right in the face! Is this the end of the match? And that's an interesting move right there. Is that it? No, not quite. Oh god. I mean, on the one hand, it's like this is a pretty good match, but at the same time, it is moving a bit slow. Looks like he's about to kick him in the face again, but no, think twice. That's a pretty good technique there. Oh, he's got him up on his shoulders. But oh no, no, he's getting him in the walls of Jericho. Reversal. Guess we're working towards the end of this now. Chris Jericho throwing on that hold and Kenny Omega struggling. No, I'm not gonna quit. I mean, I'd say the Walls of Jericho move, I mean, it definitely, if you pull it in right in real life, I guess it really depends on how flexible a person's legs are and what angle you get their legs. It can definitely put a lot of pressure on a person's quads. I'd say lower back is probably what suffers the most, especially this version of it that Chris Jericho's about to do. That's probably, like, it would be a much, like, in real life, that would definitely be an effective submission maneuver, or an apprehensive hold for that matter. But that's not me endorsing anyone using that in real life. Don't try that at home or in real life, or anywhere for that matter. It's like, how can Kenny Omega possibly get out of this hold? Will he flip him over? Or will he get to the ropes? He's at the ropes! And it's... even though it's no disqualification, he broke the hold. And now Chris Jericho is saying, stick it to the referee, shoving the referee. More shenanigans to come in the next few seconds, I'm sure. All while I have an itchy nose. Try to go for the code breaker. Oh! Knee to the face. And yet he still stands even though he got kneed in the face freaking well twice in a row. Oh. That must be his finisher. Oh, but he bought a rope break. In a no disqualification match. Even though there are no disqualifications, there's still rope breaks. But then it's like, even though there's rope breaks, it's no disqualification, so I don't know. That rule in a no disqualification match is just puzzling. It's just weird. It's something I can't get over. Like, if it's either rope break or no disqualification. No, rope break should just go hand in hand with there are rules. No disqualification, there are no rules. Except that you pin the guy. That's my understanding of it, but apparently not. We've got all these little technical I'm going on and on about that, but that's my main critique of this match and just wrestling in general. It's going up at the top rope. Oh, apparently not. Oh, do I smell a superplex coming? I wonder. That's another thing as well that I want to get out here really quickly. The superplex from the top rope doesn't finish a match. Then what the hell should? I guess we'll never find out in this scenario because they're both off the top rope now. No superplex. Just an unusual counter where Chris Jericho's head hits the turnbuckle and Kenny Omega slips down the middle back to the mats. They both got to regather their stamina now. And Kenny Omega back to his feet. Will he get the finishing maneuver on Chris Jericho? I don't even know what his finishing maneuver is. All I know is that when he hits it, it'll be over. And this might be it. Oh, I don't think it is. Oh, but that's a code breaker. We know that's Chris Jericho's finishing move. But there's no way that he's going to win. 1, 2, no! He kicked out! Who the fuck it? And Chris Jericho is just devastated! And there's another replay! And quite a sell, quite a jump, quite a leap into that Codebreaker. And now I think we're about to see the end of the match. I just got a feeling he's about to do the lion salt off the top rope, off the middle rope. But he's about to get him up and finish him on the chair. What a setup! Oh! And that's gotta be it. That is it. Match is over. Kenny Omega wins. Or if you're not a mark, just say, yeah. Kenny Omega goes over Chris Jericho. That was a pretty good match. I mean, what do you reckon? I mean, it was a slow-paced one. They went outside the ring a couple of times. You know, they had some high-flying moments. You know, there was blood. There was a table. There was chair shots to the head. There were excellently executed moves. There were freaking rope breaks in a no disqualification match. That's going to be my... I know I said it. I know I said it before. I know I said it again. That's a critique of mine that I have for this match. And just wrestling in general. I mean, if it's no disqualification, who cares about the rope break? I mean, whether they got insurance liability there or something. It's like, no, if they go near that rope and you don't allow the break and something happens, you're liable for any lawsuits pending or otherwise. Oh. But, you know, Chris Jericho still got it. You know, might not be in the same shape that he's used to be in his prime. He might not be as young as he used to be, but he's still able to work a full 40-minute match, a full main event match against a younger Kenny Omega, and you know, no botches, no injuries from either one of them, just a perfectly executed match. The pace of it was a bit slow, and the rope breaks, like I keep saying, but overall, I mean, I'm impressed with the match. It's a pretty damn good match. And if you haven't seen it, if you're not watching this with me as I commentate right now, you're just watching me react to it, whatever. Okay, that's fine. But if you haven't, I'd say this is definitely a match that, I guess, definitely because of the build. Because the build to the match, which I saw some of the promos in that leading up to it, was a very good build, and Chris Jericho is very good at working promos and selling a match and getting people to the arena, and obviously Kenny Omega is as well, because that's a packed house here. And I just gotta say, well done Kenny Omega, well done Chris Jericho. I think that's pretty much the end of the match. There's really no point in continuing on with this custom commentary right now, but like I say, New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 12. I mean, there are other matches on the card as well. I don't really think I will do a custom commentary on them unless I do happen to catch a match that piques my interest. The Royal Rumble is coming up shortly as well. I do intend on doing a custom commentary on that, so keep an eye out for that. But for now, I'm just going to say thank you everyone for watching, listening, whatever you're doing right now. Like, share, and subscribe. As always, my name is Liam, and I will see you guys next time.